Olympic athletes are breaking the world records when the stress and the pressure is the highest. So we have an opportunity to use it. What the research has shown on trajectories is that we looked at 90 different workplace interventions, right, for this level of stress that we're holding. And it was everything from, and literally anything you can think of. I mean, we're talking coaching, massage, meditation, sleep apps, all the things. None of them actually help to mitigate the effects of stress, with the exception of one thing.
Hey, Nicole, what do you get when a former corporate CEO and a do-gooding executive walk into a recording studio?
Well, Erin, nothing, because the two of us are usually on my couch or Zoom, because wine.
You get a podcast created for Gen X women who are bought into the corporate world, but fed up with the BS.
I know. It's how to thrive the 9 to 5 or 6 or 7.
It's career therapy. It's comedy. It's definitely full-on authenticity. Basically, we give you tangible strategies to rise in your career without compromising everything else.
Because work doesn't have to suck.
Hey guys, it's Erin here, and I just had a total masterclass in stress and how to deal with it in a way I did not expect. And guess what? I'm going to share it with you. I met Dr. Rebecca Heiss. I was actually on a call I wasn't on a call, it was a recorded call, and she immediately had me captivated. And I was like, you have to be on the podcast. And she is a stress physiologist. She's got her PhD, Dr. Rebecca Heiss. She's a researcher. She's a highly sought after keynote speaker, and she's also authored 2 books, Springboard and Instinct. Springboard is actually open now for pre-order. It's releasing in September. And okay, first of all, even if she didn't talk about jack shit, she is such great energy, an incredibly authentic human, just somebody I could listen to all day. But guess what? She doesn't talk about jack shit. She has real practical but science-backed strategies that will make you rethink how you think about stress. So here are some of the things we talk about. She talks about her fearless formula, which is it's this super simple 3-step process, but I'm telling you, you've never heard something like this before, on how to manage and deal with and make stress your friend, make it a positive, which I know, it sounds like a bunch of BS. It's not. She also talks about the Hedonic Treadmill, which explains why basically you feel stressed all the time because you're always sort of looking to fill up this bucket. She also talks about the winner's effect, what that is and how it can help you do really big things. One of my favorites, she mentions this concept of a disaster diary and how it can help you move forward. And then we also talk about briefly the age-old imposter syndrome, but it is a thing out there all the time. And she talks about how to not just rewire, but rename and rethink this age-old term and barrier that we all think about. So, all right, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to turn you over to this conversation, amazingly authentic and powerful conversation I had with Dr. Rebecca Heiss. So can you first start with, what is the biggest sort of misnomer when people think about things like stress or burnout or whatever they want to put that work, everything category together?
Best question. I'm so glad you asked me that question, because here's the thing that everybody is trying to do. They're trying to get rid of stress, right? They're trying to fight against it. And y'all, that is a losing battle. Stop trying to get rid of stress. It's not going anywhere, right? Even if, I don't know, you cut your workload in half, other stress is going to it's going to find you. So I think we're fighting against something that we can't control. So rather than trying to fight against it, and I'm going to bring in a second misnomer here, or a second misunderstanding that people have. The thing that we need to do is actually transform our stress mindset. And what often people will say is, well, yeah, there is good stress. That's eustress. People have heard of that. They're like, well, there's good stress and there's bad stress. Can we just throw that out the window and say there's stress? And stress is energy. It's just energy. That's all it is. It's your body's response to something, and you get this massive surge of energy. Cool. So what do you want to do with it? That's it.
That's so damn good. It's funny. I was walking with my neighbor yesterday, And we were talking, I was sort of talking about how I feel like we have like, and I'm going to tell you the weird thing I say, and please tell me the biological maybe back of it, that we have like this thing in our innards. I'm pointing to my innards.
Yeah.
It's like a stress bucket that we always fill up. And the example I gave to her was when I was getting my MBA and working, I thought, I can't wait to be done with this. I'm going to be like, so, and then as soon as I'm done with my MBA, what did I do? I worked more. I thought about things at work that I didn't, and I filled up this like, I don't know, bucket in my stomach or in my heart or wherever it is. What is that? Is that real? Like, do we just try to fill up the bucket no matter what?
It's a hedonic treadmill, which is great, right?
A hedonic treadmill.
Which in so many ways is great. It's about changing our mindset about it. So let me give you your hedonic adaptation. So people who win the lottery and who become paraplegics, a year later, they're at the same level of happiness. Why? Because our brain has this incredible ability to adapt to our situation. So if you have a set stress level and you're like, okay, this is where I run, and you're trying to like, okay, when I finish this, I'll just eliminate all that stress. I'll just come back down to here. No, you won't. You'll find something else to fill it up to this point. So what you're talking about is this like natural tendency you have, and we all have, that's not just you, to sit at this level of energy, of stress. And so we seek these behaviors and these opportunities, and we fill that bucket up. So I think it's a great thing because, again, if we recognize that we are adaptable creatures and this is just the habit that our body and brain gets into, what that means is this too shall pass. And this too shall pass, good and bad. So why are we labeling this good, bad? Just let it roll through.
So, okay, so let's talk about what do we do about it? And I know you have a fearless stress formula. You also have this T-3.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. An example might be, in the entrepreneurship world, one day you get a speaking gig and you're like super excited. The next day, you're not sure you can afford name brand potato chips at the store because like the check's not coming in and you're worried that you're never going to make it. Like that roller coaster, I'm sure in the corporate world too. One day your boss is like, you rock that meeting. The next day you get a nastygram from, some VP that puts you just in the hole. Like, what do we do?
Yeah, I feel like you're in my head. That is literally the conversation that I have every single day with myself. Like, oh, we're rocking it. Oh boy, are we going to survive August? I think there's a couple steps here. Let me walk us through what I call my fearless formula, because this is the foundation of what I tell people to do with their stress. The first step is the tiger, right? That's the stressor itself. And what we have to recognize is that tiger isn't going anywhere, right? Idea of, oh, there's this constant flux and great, you're on the roller coaster, you're strapped in. Can't change that. So rather than trying to fight the tiger, I tell it, invite the tiger in for a cup of tea. Right? Let the stressor come in. When we name it, we begin to tame it. And so invite that tiger in, sit it down, share a cup of tea with it. And the second step on this is then the transfer. So
wait, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say the tiger is, I know our audience deals with this, it's the nastygram from some senior VP that you screwed something up or whatever.
Yeah.
How do you invite that in? Tell us a little bit more.
So what most people tend to do is they tend to freak out, push it aside, like try and stop thinking about it, ignore it. We procrastinate. We have this like fight, flight, freeze response. And that's normal and natural. So I want you to let that happen. And for 3 minutes, which is, I tell people our stress response is really built for 3 minutes of screaming terror, like through the jungle, getting chased by a tiger. It's not built for
that's the exorcism time that we get. Okay.
Because then you're dead. The tiger's caught you after 3 minutes.
That's true.
That's it. The stress is over. But humans are really unique in that we're the only animals that are capable of creating our own stress with our thoughts. So while our stress response is built for those 3 minutes, we carry it forward because we don't deal with it. So inviting that tiger in for tea means I just got this nastygram email, right? And I'm freaking out. And I'm going to now go into that stress response. I'm going to allow my body to feel it. And my favorite technique during this time is to do what I call a disaster diary and just write out all of the things that are going to go wrong. Right? Like, okay, my boss thinks I'm an idiot. She's immediately going to fail me, flunk me. kick me out. All of my colleagues will shame me. My wife is going to divorce me. Like, go into it. Allow yourself to go to that worst case scenario, because the reality is that's what your brain is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Way. So make it cognizant, name it. And then as we begin to move through the stress response after that 3 minutes, and I literally will set a timer, right? After that 3-minute timer dings, okay, that's when we begin to take a breath, because we're moving now from this limbic system, from that emotional space, into our more cognitive frontal lobe, where we can begin to get a little bit more logical about this. And suddenly we're like, okay, this isn't the end of the world. I probably am not going to lose my job over this. My wife may not divorce me. Like, we start to piece this together. But if we don't go through it, if we don't invite that tiger in, it's just going to be chasing us. It's just knocking at the door, and our brain is going to stay locked into that space of fear.
I love that. I love putting the timer on. Like, I call it an exorcism, not necessarily with stress, but like when you just sometimes have to get the evil out. But I love the invited. Okay, so now we've invited it in. Now it's transform.
Transfer time. Yeah.
Okay, transfer.
Yeah. So the tiger is now sitting with us. We're having some tea. And how we begin to transfer all of this energy that is just like elicited in our body. Well, all right. Let me do some like high school physics stuff with you.
Oh,
so if you remember high school physics, the one thing I hope you remember from high school physics is this: energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be transferred. Yeah, that's it. And so all we're going to do in this stage is not try and destroy the energy, because people's natural instinct is like, I need to calm down, right? I just need to calm down. You know, like, my favorite question to ask people is like, hey, remember that time when that terrible thing happened and you went to a friend and you told them all about this terrible stressor that you were having, and they looked at you and they said, oh, just calm down, Erin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your friend,
off, dude.
It never happened. B, you'd never go back to that friend, right? And yet this is the advice we give to ourselves. And it's terrible advice, because physiologically, we can't just calm down. We can't tell our adrenal glands not to release adrenaline.
Yeah.
And this is physiologically impossible. So rather than calming down, what we need to do is shift the energy. So the thing we do have control over is what that energy means. Does it mean that we're stressed, scared, anxious? Maybe. Does it mean that we're excited or angry or any of these other high valence states, high activation states of energy? So the transfer stage is about deciding, okay, maybe this isn't an ordeal. Maybe this can be an adventure. And listen, I would hate it if somebody just looked at me in the moment of stress and be like, just choose adventure, right? So you got to go through that 3 minutes. But in that state, once you get to the transfer stage, we can use a technique of curiosity. And I hate even calling curiosity a technique, but truly, it's one of the most powerful things we can do, because in our brain, curiosity and fear can't coexist. Like, there's no brain mechanism that allows those two things to sit together. In part because for 200,000 plus years, as we were evolving, nobody ever had a tiger charging them and paused and was like, yeah, I wonder how fast it's coming. How many stripes does it have? You know, like, we didn't get curious in those moments. So if we're willing to, in that moment of heightened state, begin to get curious, it kicks us out of this fear state.
Yeah.
And we can begin to choose differently. Okay, maybe I can learn something here. Maybe I'll grow. Maybe this can be an adventure. What are the things along the way that I might look for? So that's the second stage. I'll pause.
I love it. I love getting back to high school physics, but only like one thing, because I was terrible at it. So now that we've transferred it, so let's go back to the example with the nasty gram. Like, I can't believe you guys screwed this up. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
What's that look like?
So yeah, this can look like this. I just got this nasty gram. I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to journal for my 3 minutes. I'm going to freak out, and then I'm going to go, I wonder if I'm reading this correctly. I wonder if my boss meant to really upset me, or if they were trying to teach me something. Is there a way that I'm being coached through this?
Yeah.
What can I do to repair this? How can I grow and make sure that this doesn't happen again? What's the smallest step that I can take toward this tiger so that I can fend it off?
Yeah.
Like all
Yeah, I
of
love that. I love it. What else could be upsetting them that maybe they're redirecting to me? How would I have dealt with it if I were on the other end? Like, yes. And we don't do that enough. Call it sleep running syndrome. We're always just like sleep running around life, right? And not just stop and have that curiosity. I love it.
It's so true. And really funny thing, not funny, ironic, awful, maybe is the better description about this is that because humans are so socially contagious, like if we got on here, Erin, and you're like grumpy and just kind of, it's going to take me twice the amount to show up like happy and joyful. So like I've just gotten this awful email from my boss and now I'm going to react with this defensive posture and this right back at them. Instead, if I can stay open, put a smile on my face, try and find some adventure, even like my body posture itself influence the hormones in my body. My brain's looking to my body to go, what does this mean? Are we excited? Are we scared? So by putting a smile on, by throwing my shoulders back and like going toward that tiger, hey boss, I just got this email. I'm a little confused. I obviously am positive intention here. Didn't mean to screw this thing up. Help me understand where we went wrong, right? Like that kind of tension eliminator there by showing up, smiling, open, actually is going to do something for your boss too. Now your boss be like a little more relaxed because they don't have to be defensive about this.
Oh my God, yes. I like underline, bold, like it doesn't just go in one direction, people, right? Inspiration goes in a circle. I love that.
That's right.
Okay, what's the third step?
So the third step is we've said it's not a tiger. We've transferred our energy, and now we're going to point it along a particular trajectory. So I like to say, you've got all your butterflies in alignment now. Where do you want to point it? Right? What direction do you want to move in? And what people often do in this space is they go full circle. They're like, okay, I've got things in alignment now. Now I'm going to get rid of the stress. And it's the wrong choice. Like, they're like, okay, I'm going to get a massage. I'm going to get some coaching. I'm going to get a good night's sleep. Look, all of those things are great. Meditation, all of those things are great. Don't get me wrong. But you've got this energy now. Don't try and get rid of it. Olympic athletes are breaking the world records at that point, right? When the stress and the pressure is the highest. So we have an opportunity to use it. What the research has shown on trajectories is that we looked at 90 different workplace interventions, right, for this level of stress that we're holding. And it was everything from, and literally anything you can think of. I mean, we're talking coaching, massage, meditation, sleep apps, all the things. None of them actually help to mitigate the effects of stress, with the exception of one thing. And this is where I want everybody to point their trajectory. The one thing that actually mitigated negative stress feelings was service to others.
I was going to say action, but that's specific. That's more specific action.
Yes, it is. It is action. And here's the kicker. It is action toward, in service to others. So again, I'm just going to highlight another nerdy study because I think it's so meaningful. We're in fear. We're running away from the thing that actually is going to bring our most meaning and purpose to our lives.
Yeah.
Like when we harness all that energy and go, how can I use this to serve myself, to serve others so that I can serve others? We find a more meaningful and purposeful as a result. So, again, this was a 2013 study looking at what makes for a most meaningful and purposeful life. And the number one correlate was stress. And I love that.
That's so...
It's fine, right?
It's so great. And I love the I think we all kind of know take action, but I love in the service of others. What, back to that example, to be annoying, just to like close the loop. What would that look like with the situation we've been talking about?
Right. All right. So we've gone through our 3 minutes of screaming terror. We've gotten curious. We're taking action toward the fear, toward the tiger, going into the boss and asking those questions. And then the bigger question that we're going to ask is, what does this mean bigger picture? How can I learn from this so that we serve our clients better, so that my team is not disappointed by my actions. Like, we're putting it in a larger context socially, because again, as humans, we are social creatures. And so everything comes back to serving our communities. It's one of the most powerful things we see with PTSD. We talk a lot about PTSD, in this culture, traumatic stress disorder, right?
Yep.
We forget to talk about is post-traumatic growth.
Mm-hmm.
Happens way more frequently than PTSD. And when we go through difficult things, but we do it together, or we find ways to serve the community as a result of them, we experience this massive post-traumatic growth. So that's the trajectory piece here.
I love it. And I think even in that example, I would love people to think, what can I do to serve them? Not, which is different than appease, make happy, amend, right? Like,
huge.
If they are, for example, somebody that blows up the handle sometimes, like, maybe what you need to serve them is to demonstrate how to handle something in a, like, to your point, a sit up, a smiley face, a more aligned, more calm manner. So I think that, like, serving can be so, right, minute, in that moment, or it can be really big, right? We're talking about a very, like, ridiculously small but common example, but it can go the gamut, I'm guessing.
Powerful, but just as powerful. I'll give you, actually, if you're open to it, I'll tell a quick story about this.
Yes.
Trajectory. This is one of the more powerful moments of my life in seeing this in action. So I had the privilege of doing a keynote a few years ago in Hawaii, and I showed up, professional day before, getting ready. None of my luggage showed up with me. And I'm starting to freak out because all the flights are coming in. My luggage is on none of them. And I'm seen, right? And the hotelier sees me, stops me, has a conversation with me. He's like, Dr. Heiss, we got you. I set up a car. It's going to take you downtown, and you're going to find something in the shops. And I was like, what? Okay. So service to others. Let's just start there. Now I'm thinking, like, this is my stress. What am I doing? I get downtown. I'm freaking out even more because I don't know if you've ever tried to shop on the Big Island of Hawaii, but there's not a lot of suit coats.
No, I'm guessing there's a lot of expensive Hawaiian shirts.
Exactly. Bathing suits and flip-flops. So I go into the shop. This is probably the fourth shop I've been in. And this woman says to me, look, you're not going to find what you need here. But here's what you're going to do. You're going to take my car. You're going to drive 40 miles over to my friend's house. She's about your size. And you're going to love my car. It's a brand new BMW convertible. Go enjoy it. And I was like, first of all, I was flabbergasted. I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like, what's your name?
Wow.
She's like, I'll tell you when you get back. All right. Long story short, I go to her friend's house. Her friend has these beautiful outfits picked out for me. I drive home.
Unbelievable.
I drive back to the shop. And I'm like, what? Why would you? And I'm in tears. I'm like, why would you do this? And she says, listen, this is just what we do here. It's the Hawaiian, it's aloha spirit. But there's another thing. My daughter just moved back to the mainland, and I've been so stressed out, so concerned about her. My hope is that some stranger would do something similar for her in this situation.
And so she was doing it to relieve her stress in part.
Right? And here I am.
Transfer. What a transfer.
Yep. I'm bawling. I go back. I tell the hotelier this story. He's bawling. 10 minutes later, this big plate of chocolates and a 2-page handwritten note shows up about how stressed out he has been and that he hasn't been performing at the level to serve his clients. And I'm going, all of their stress has manifested in creating an experience for me that is going to allow me to never stop talking about them. That's how powerful it is, right?
Yeah, talk about meta, right? Thank you for the story. I mean, thank you for, like, everything, right? What you did, but also validating what you do and for the stories to come. That's incredible. Hey there, it's Erin. I'm just popping in real quick to ask you a question. Is there any chance you know someone who is looking for a keynote speaker for their upcoming event? Look, I know that many event organizers, they struggle to find a speaker who provides both tangible value and business knowledge, but that also lights their audience on fire. And I truly believe there aren't many speakers like me out there who are both former corporate executives and professionally trained speakers, and there's definitely none that roll in with an orange suitcase they unpack with their audience. Trust me on that. I would love nothing more than to bring my message of using authenticity as your strategic career and business advantage to people spinning in your universe, especially if you'd be there. I promise my talks always create an immediate buzz, but not just right after, but for months and years after the event is over. You can learn more about my message, style, and reviews, and share my speaking info by going to beauthenticinc.com/keynote-speaking. That's B, just the letter B, authenticinc.com/keynote-speaking. Or of course, we have it right in the show notes to make it easy for you too. We talked about a lot about stress. Is there anything though recently that like you talk a lot about biology that like biologically surprised you about yourself? And you had to, you had to like get curious, go do the research, but you were the crash test dummy.
Oh gosh, this is going to get really personal really quick.
Mm.
I study hormones for a living. Yeah, for a living. That is what my PhD is in. And about 3 years ago, I was pregnant for the first time ever. And they had no idea. I mean, we talk about the hormones of pregnancy and I had no idea. I had no idea how powerful that was. I'd never wanted kids. And then immediately I was like, come on, this is what I was built for. Right. So I think that experience kind of pushed me back into recognizing how much our brain, our behavior, our biology is driven by hormones and really allowing ourselves to have grace with ourselves and others in those moments of high intensity stress, high intensity hormonal experiences, because it is really hard in those moments to pull back and act rationally.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for telling. I could so relate. I have a 17-year-old daughter who I would say we went through, it's never ending, but right. We went through what you would expect everybody talks about with hormones, but what nobody talks about as much anyway is our son. And that was a different experience. He's 14 and we had a tough year. And I know that was part of the stew that, sort of cooked up the challenges. And it's, I would agree. It cannot be underestimated. And as a 50-year-old woman who is either peri or full menopause, who knows at this point? Wait for that one. Be ready, Dr. Heiss, for that one.
We should have another episode on that because we could do hours on that. I think the important piece here, though, honestly, is recognizing for me, my story is your story and your story is my story. Is not to say that we're carrying the same stressors, but that everybody is carrying a huge load, right? It's not just the email. It's not just the thing that happened that day. It's this compounding of like my son, my daughter, taking care of my elderly parents, all of these things that are weighing on us. And then that email from the boss comes in.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's so much more than that. So yeah.
I love it. What's a behavior that people think is rational, but it's actually instinctual?
A behavior they think is rational that is actually instinctual. Almost everything. I think we think we are a lot more cognitive than we are. One of my favorite examples of this is when you put your hand on a hot stove, what do you do?
Yeah, you pull it off.
Yeah, why?
Because your biology is messy, right? Like
you remove your hand before your brain even registers heat or pain.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're like, oh, it's hot. No, you're not removing it because it's hot. You're removing it because your biology was way ahead of where your brain was. And so things like, I mean, we can go into cognitive biases all day long about, seeing. Here's one. When people say, I don't see race, gender, or age. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. So biases are natural. That doesn't mean good. That doesn't mean, but they're biologically natural. And it is our cognitive responsibility and job to to work around them and to work against our biology in that space.
That's so good. I was actually a stats major, and so I have like a slightly different angle, but it's like, yeah, you're gonna have biases are in part a statistical
Yes.
calculation, right? I need to know about what the hell the Ulysses Pact is.
Oh my gosh.
What is this? I watched some of your videos, but I'm like, I'm not even gonna watch this one because I just want to hear. I'm so
What is
curious.
the Ulysses
What is
Pact?
this?
I've forgotten about that. Okay. So the Ulysses Pact, if you're familiar with this literature, basically Ulysses wants to get through the sirens. And he knows if he listens to the sirens, he's going to go mad and steer the ship into the rocks and everybody will die. But he wants to hear them. He wants to hear them so badly that he tells his I don't know, he's captain of the ship. He tells the people to strap him to the mast, right? Everybody else has to plug their ears, strap him to the mast, and whatever he says, it doesn't matter if he says, I'm joking, just joking. I changed my mind. Whatever he says, don't untie him. Essentially, he has set up a scenario where he cannot break this pact, right? He cannot break this pact. And so he's able to hear the sirens without going mad, going insane and bringing the boat around because he's created that scenario. So the Ulysses Pact, I love the idea of how do we bring people into our lives that hold us accountable at that level where we've set ourselves up for that success. It's a really powerful way to think through these big problems. Like, I want this, but with that comes this. And so often our biology is this, right? I want this, but my biology is going to say, no, of course you need ice cream for breakfast, which in my house happens a lot. So how do you bring people into your life that no matter what I say, you get me out of bed and you get me to the gym at 6 a.m. No matter, I can stay later. Oh, I didn't get a good night's sleep. Nope, you're coming.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really powerful. And it does tell us, with, something you talk about, which is willpower. And you talk about how it actually decreases throughout the day. And I'm one of those people. I'm not a big discipline person. I'm that thing that a bunch of keynote speakers would yell at and say, oh, you can't wait for motivation. And I'm like, bullshit. I find ways to motivate. But
Yeah.
I don't even know the question. Like, tell us about willpower and motivation and discipline and what does the biology say? And is there a way to think about these things to do more shit without being miserable?
Yes, for sure. Don't rely on willpower because here's what happens. Throughout the day, our brain gets what we'd call decision fatigue, right? You're making thousands and thousands of decisions that you don't even recognize. Like, you wake up, you have to pick out an outfit. You have to decide what earrings am I going to wear? Am I going to wear makeup? No, I don't even know if I'm going to wear makeup. Do I want cream in my coffee? What kind? Do I want half and half or all in the? Like, you are thousands and thousands and thousands of decisions. And throughout the day, your willpower, your brain just gets fatigued. And it's like, I can't even do the effort. So there's a couple ways to form better habits. Gosh, so many directions. The first thing I'll say this is starting small. And I know people say this a lot, but I'm going to give you the biology of why this is important. Starting small builds upon something known as the winner's effect. So if my goal is to, go to the gym 3 days a week. One of the ways to start small is laying out my clothes and just getting into my workout clothes. If I do that, that's a win. That counts. I don't even have to go to the gym. I just have to put my clothes on. Now, if I put my clothes on, am I more likely to go to the gym? Probably. But that's the win. The win is just to get into my clothes. Here's why this matters. When I set up my goal as not going to the gym 3 times a week, but just getting into my workout clothes.
Yeah.
And I hit that goal, my brain goes, ding, 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 ding. It lights up. And it's like, you met your goal. And it releases this massive amount of dopamine. Now, dopamine is, yes, it's a happy hormone, but it's also an addiction hormone. It's why people say, like, flipping through TikToks and all that thing. We love dopamine. And so our brain goes, cool, you just did it. You want more? And we're like, So now we do the next day, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get into our clothes and we're like, oh, we're doing it. So now we're starting to form this habit. And our brain starts to eat that up. So then you add another small step. I'm going to get in my workout clothes and I'm going to drive to the gym. That's the goal. Notice I haven't even gone inside, right? But if I get that far, am I more likely to do it? Probably.
Yeah.
So setting up these small goals creates this winner's effect where our brain and our biology begin to support our goals differently by reducing our cortisol, increasing our testosterone. That's for women as well. We have T. Like all of these effects that help us maintain that strategy. The opposite, of course, and I didn't name this, don't pick on me, but is the loser's effect, which is you set your goal really high. You don't have all these little notches along the way just to measure it. I want to lose 20 pounds next month. And I step on the scale and I'm not 20 pounds down. It's a problem.
Yep.
You end up like self-defeating. So yeah, setting these really small goals and removing the friction to achieve them is really key.
I love that. So good. Let's talk about, I have a couple more things to talk about, and then I'll hit you with our last two questions. Imposter syndrome, so cliche, but you talk about different types of imposter syndrome. Talk about like the biology, or give us the Dr. Rebecca Heiss sort of slant on imposter syndrome.
Talk about imposter syndrome. Okay, first of all, let's stop calling it a syndrome. It's not a syndrome. It is imposter thoughts. And y'all, we all have them. Every single person, unless you're probably like have some kind of psychopathy or
narcissism
condition. Like if you're into the dark triad, you may not have this. You probably have imposter thoughts. And imposter thoughts are super normal because, again, we lived in tribes of 150 people. And you're constantly comparing yourself to one another to make sure you understand where you fit in the tribe. So if you're sitting there going, oh, I just can't throw a spear like Jenny can throw a spear. Good. You know where you stand. Just because they're natural, I can't say this enough. Just because it's natural doesn't mean you have to live with it. Doesn't mean it's normal. Doesn't mean it's good.
Yep.
So one of the challenges to imposter thoughts is letting the imposter win. Think, okay, Jenny's better than me. So what? What does that mean? Nothing. It means nothing. It doesn't actually, because aside from Instagram, we're really not in comparison with others. We're in comparison with ourselves.
Yeah.
So one of the strategies that I'd ask people to do is take a little note when you have an imposter thought, down in a journal, and then be your own lawyer and look for all of the evidence that thought is true. Go ahead, try and prove that imposter thought right. But there's a caveat. Then must play the opposing side.
Yep.
Right? And say, okay, that may be true. Look at the other side. Let's look at this evidence. And it forces us to get out of that emotional state and into a more cognitive frontal lobe where we're really actually looking at the evidence. And I can almost guarantee you that your counter argument is going to be phenomenally stronger
than the other.
Than any other, because this isn't a rational thing.
It's not a rational thing.
It's our brains trying to protect us.
Yep,
looking bad, and it stops us from action.
Yeah, I love that. And so you're a better person than me. My sort of strategy also is to get really snarky and figure out what Jenny sucks at that I'm good at. I don't tell her, but I'm like, yeah, she also has never written 2 books. So
there it is.
Guess she has time to, clean her house or shop for better clothes or right.
We are all so too busy to looking at ourselves to be worried about what anybody else is doing. I guarantee you, Jenny is freaking out about how I can fish and she can throw a spear.
Or you have a better nose, or who the fuck knows what, right? Like it could be like different planets, right? Like we spend way too much time there. Stop spending time there, people.
It's natural, it's normal, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. And it doesn't have to linger. So no more than 3 minutes.
There it is. Allow yourself to freak out for 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Then you're moving on. Hey guys, Erin here. Stop. Do not do it. Don't fast forward. I have something too important. I have a couple of very passive-aggressive questions to ask you that you don't want to miss. Here they are. 1, Do you find yourself often comparing yourself to others? Like, they work harder than me, they get noticed more than me, they have better luck than me, they're smarter than me. Or do you also just feel exhausted from having to always work as hard, if not harder, than everybody else to stand out and succeed? I know you have these challenges. We all do. And this is why I wrote the 50% rule. And I know you need to read another book like you need a hole in the head. But I'm telling you, this book and this rule, I'm obsessed with it. And it has changed my life. It has changed the lives of others around us. And it has also been the formula for success behind so many successful people. Savannah Bananas, Hamilton, Weird Al Yankovic. The 50% rule is the simplest shortcut to stop comparing, stop copying, stop chasing other people, and like literally compete in your league of your own. There isn't a day that doesn't go by where I stop myself and I'm like, oh, she did a talk that I wish I could do. She's got more. No, it doesn't matter, because we don't compete in the same league. I compete in a league of my own because I am constantly 50% ruling things. So if you're interested in this concept, which by the way is more fun as a team sport, but at least start with yourself. You cannot miss this book. It's not only powerful, it's really freaking fun to read. That is always my number one goal. It was my number one goal with my first book. It's my number one goal with the 50% rule. I want to make it enjoyable to read it. Why? So that you read it. So if you feel like you are stuck with these comparison cramps or just all the symptoms that I talk about in the book of sleep running syndrome, self-doubt gout, and pioneer paralysis, and well, you have to read the book to find out more, then just go buy the darn book. Easiest way, go to Amazon, search the 50% rule, and I cannot wait to hear how you 50% rule things. You have a new book coming out, Springboard. What is it about? Tell us more.
Springboard is all about how to transfer all of the stress energy to work for you rather than against you. So it's a lot of this conversation. It also is rich with a lot of stories from this past couple of years of my life, which I'll tell you, when you think about a springboard and you think about the compounding stress that pushes the spring down, there's a lot of us sitting on some pretty major springs right now that are really deeply compressed. And so this book is about the celebration of when that energy releases. Where are we pointing it? How do we use it? Yeah.
Yeah. Literally looking, as you can tell, I was never a diver, but I like to pretend. Yeah. I just love that visual. It's like when that compresses, like you can either belly flop and fly, or you can do your best impression of an Olympic diver and
acting as if is a lot of it. Right? Showing up as if I'm going to be that Olympic diver. And look, maybe I splash, maybe I don't. I probably won't see it myself. So,
right?
I'm just going to pretend like it was a perfect 10. Right?
I'm just going to swim up for air and survive like my instincts do.
Yeah.
It's so good. And when is it out?
It's out September 2nd, but you can pre-order it now. So please do. And
go do it.
If I can share one thing. Part of Springboard, it talks a lot about the trajectory in service to others. And so because book launches are really stressful, as you well know, I wanted to live my work. And so anybody that pre-orders the book, all of the proceeds from the pre-orders are going to charity.
That's amazing.
So this is the service to others.
I love it. I can't wait to go order it. I'm going to do it right after this. We'll put the link in there. I mean, people, you guys, if you've listened to us for a long time, we have a lot of cool guests, but like to have somebody that is such a profound nerd, but has a personality and can translate all of it, like that's worth its weight in gold. Oh, she's her nerdy glasses. There we go. Now you're full nerd like me.
Such a great compliment. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thanks.
No, I mean, it's a superpower, that juxtaposition. You don't find it very often, and you are cool and authentic and relatable, but you don't have bullshit behind it. You know the science. You're a nerd. You're a nerd. Of course you are. You got a PhD. You're also crazy. Anybody that gets a PhD is a nerd and is crazy. All right. So 2 final questions that we ask everybody. The first one is, we always like to hear a buck that story. So when's a time when you said buck that, like you bucked the norm, you went against the grain, but good stuff happened?
Okay. It starts with a kind of a downer. My my sister-in-law, who is a sister to me, a second sister to me for 20 years, was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I said, buck that. And I quit my job, sold my house, and divorced my husband that month. 1 month. Because it was a moment that, like, I think everybody has these moments where the rug gets pulled out. And for me, it was a reflective moment of going, man, if that had been my diagnosis, I'd be really pissed off with the life that I'd built, because it was okay. It was safe. It was fine. And we are not meant to live meh lives. We're meant to be all in. So that's the origin story of my speaking career, actually.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's inspiring. I love that. I think that's the most like succinctly profound story we've heard. Been asking the question.
Thanks. Great question.
Go figure. Before I ask the last question, which is a total softball, but where can people best interact with you or follow you?
Yeah, I'm on all of the social platforms. Dr. Rebecca Heiss on Instagram is probably the most active one, or TikTok if that's your thing. You can check out my website, RebeccaHeiss.com, and feel free to reach out. I'd love to hear from you.
That's awesome. All right, last question. What is one last tip to help people have work suck less?
One last tip to let people have work suck less. Here's the tip. The tip is this. If you are stressed in your work, you're doing great, purposeful, meaningful work, because no one gets stressed out over their shoe coming untied. It's a barometer for how much you care. So the next time you feel that stress at work, go, oh, right. This means it's meaningful to me, and lean into that.
That's awesome. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. This has been so helpful. I can already see the messages coming in. People, loving this and needing this at a time where there's so much stress. So
thanks for the opportunity. It's so much fun to have great conversations with fun people, and thanks for asking such interesting questions.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you.
Hey, it's Erin with a teeny request. If you have ever gotten any value from this podcast and you'd like us to stick around, plus you want it to continue to grow so we can kind of swindle bigger and more knowledgeable guests to join us, and to keep providing you with tangible and inspiring actions you can take to achieve the career and life you deserve, could you please just take 1 minute to leave us a rating and a review? Those reviews go a long way in attracting guests to the show, and candidly, they really make Nicole and I's day. We see you. We really do. So when you have the time and inspiration, we'd love to see a rating and review from you. Thank you.